Welcome to another episode of the brand called You. Today I have with me a very accomplished professional from the pharmaceutical world, Mr. Sudarshan Jain with me. Sudarshan, welcome to the show. Sudarshan is currently the Secretary General of the Indian Pharmaceutical Alliance. He is the former Managing Director of Abbott Healthcare Solutions. He is from St. Stephen's College and Indian Institute of Management, Ahmedabad. And as per his own words, he has a passion for healthcare and education. So Sudarshan, tell me a little bit about your early work, your learnings, and some of your challenges.
Thank you very much, Ashutosh, for this interaction. I've seen some of your earlier programs, and this is an outstanding work. And thanks for the opportunity to share my
Thank you.
life journey with you. So I went to a military school
Mhm.
initially. So there is some impact of going to a military school.
Right.
I wanted to go to services, but because of my eyesight, I
Mhm.
couldn't go to the services. But that service before self
Mhm.
has been a motto before in my life.
Right.
After that, I went to St. Stephen's College with an aim that I wanted to go to administrative service, but got at IIM Ahmedabad.
Mhm.
And then after IIM Ahmedabad, I joined the healthcare industry. I've worked with Lupin, Johnson and Johnson, Boots,
Okay.
which was acquired by Knoll and Abbott, and then Pyramos, and then Abbott again.
Okay.
So life has been a continuous learning over the period of time. And also the greatest learning is because I was fortunate that I got the best education during my time,
Correct.
St. Stephen's College, IIM Ahmedabad, and the military school. So whatever you are there, one of the learning has been that you have to be passionate about it, you should love it, and you need to excel in whatever you are doing. Because
Correct.
I was, most of my friends have been excelling whatever they have been doing. So there is a culture of excellence which this institution embedded in me. So I will say, be passionate about whatever you are doing, and try to excel in whatever you do. So those
Correct.
have been two great learnings from the
Correct.
early part of my life.
Correct. So, you're now the Secretary General of the Indian Pharmaceutical Alliance. What is the role the IPA plays in our country?
So Ashutosh, as we all know, IPA represents 25 top companies of this country,
Mhm.
which contribute 60% of domestic sales and 80% of exports from India.
Okay.
It is the voice of the Indian industry. It has to provide ecosystem working with the government for the growth of the Indian industry, and offering affordable medicines around the world. We are very proud of the fact that every second tablet, every third tablet in US is sold from India.
Wow.
Every fourth tablet in Europe is sold from India. And IPA companies have played a very important role, whether availability of HIV medicines which are there around the world, and playing a very important role during COVID times. So it is an outstanding work which is being done by the companies. And as a Secretary General, I help support the ecosystem which facilitate the growth of Indian industry.
So, for the last decade and certainly looking ahead, the pharmaceutical industry is booming. But what are
Yes.
some of the challenges the industry faces?
So if we see over the years, this industry has been a great contributor to the foreign exchange earning for India. The two industries which have brought pride to this country is pharma and IT industry. We have, it is a knowledge driven industry.
Mhm.
We have exports to over 200 countries around the world. We are net foreign exchange earner of $14 billion. We touched around $41 billion this year, equal contribution from exports and domestic market. And hence, we have been able to generate foreign exchange for this country and brought the image to this country going forward. The challenge is, how do we take the industry to the next level, which is in the discovery space. That is very important. And second is, how do we build the quality image of this industry around the world?
Mhm.
Although there is a lot which is being done, and there were some setbacks in the past, but over the years we have done hell of a lot.
Mhm.
And the third challenge is how we keep on helping the Indian government for the access of medicines
Correct.
in the country. So these are the three big challenges I will say for the industry going forward.
Wonderful. Wonderful. And over the last few years, there has been a lot of movement towards generics. Everybody was talking of generics, and during my days with Guardian, we even figure out that the big companies, the top 25 companies, introduced a new brand, a new term called branded generics, which was a contradiction in my own mind. But what is going to happen to the pharmaceutical industry with the introduction of more and more generics?
Like if we see today, the quality is very, very important. And we have got around 10,000 manufacturers in India. There are manufacturers who market generic products, but the regulations may not be strong at this particular moment. The government is doing all what is there to upgrade the quality standards. Hence, the power of brand becomes very, very important. And particularly for some of the therapies, like say anti-epileptic therapies. Yes, phenytoin is available, but if you substitute it to patient what he is taking by another products at a low price, it may be very harmful to the patient. My view is that we have to invest hell of a lot on quality. As such, our pricing are the lowest in the world for most of the therapies. So the question is not generic and branded generic. As such, our whole market is branded generic. The competitive intensity is very, very high. So what is important in our industry is to raise the quality standards and take it to the next level of R&D. The generics, pure generics, may not be the solution because the pricing as such is low. There is not much difference, and what we need to do is to invest in quality and R&D to raise the overall standards of the industry.
Which leads me to the next question: that why is it that Indian pharmaceutical industry does not invest so much money in research as one sees all over in the developed world?
Very, very good question, Ashutosh. We are a knowledge-driven industry, and all our scientists, they are working abroad uh, with all the leading research companies in the world, whether it is Johnson and Johnson or whether it is Novartis or whether it is Abbott. When you go abroad, you see all your friends doing research there. But as far as India is concerned, we don't see companies investing in R&D. The real reason is there are two, three fundamental reasons, and what we are doing is IPA is working very closely with the government on this issue. One of the reasons is the price realization in India is very, very low. Up till now, the price control order has focused too much on the low price because that has become the major dimension. And that has led to suffering of the quality to an extent and suffering of an investment in R&D. The regulatory system in this country is not as much aligned. The industry academic linkage has not been so much strong. There are no funding mechanisms which are available in this country. We don't support R&D in terms of investment by the government. So what we are doing is we are working with the government, and if this industry has to go to the next level, it is important that our companies start investing in R&D, get the talent which is there, and that will be the next wave of growth. In fact, we are saying to the government is if India has to move up the rank, we are at the moment 13 largest in value and third largest in volume. If India has to take place among top 5 markets in the world, we have to move up the value chain and start investing more in R&D, both by the government and the private sector. And we have to create an ecosystem for R&D in the country.
And that leads me to the next logical question. We are very large importers of ingredients and bulk drugs from China. Given all the current challenges that are going on, question is often being asked is that why are we not manufacturing these in our own country? What are your thoughts on this?
Again, a great question and great challenge for the industry. Like you have been Ashutosh, you have seen this industry over the years. China used to have around less than 10% share in 1990 of imports from India. And today, China contributes around 70% import of APIs from India. And there is huge dependence of India on China. The issue was we used to make everything in India. We used to have large bulk drug plants. There were plants in the public sector. All of them got closed because the Chinese government was giving a lot of incentives, whether it is buying of the land, whether it is power cost, whether it is interest cost. Our interest cost used to be around 12%. You can get in China 2 to 3%. And we lost that complete advantage. And hence, the government realized this. And the good news is government has announced API policy. around a month back. It is giving incitement, which is around 7,000 crores for building API industry, and then they are talking around setting up 3 bulk drug parks in the country, where the clusters will be created, and if the industry is set up in those parks, you will get faster clearance. So the overall thrust of the government is getting into API, as you rightly pointed out, because they are the foundation. If you don't get APIs, if there is no diversified supply chain in the country, there is a question of healthcare security for the nation. So what we are trying to do is building diversified supply chain. And the second question which you raised, also take the industry to the next level through investment in R&D.
Very well said. Very well said. So let me now talk from the perspective of the consumer. And I've often said that, I spent 15 years in this business, in this industry as a retailer. And I said, this is a peculiar industry. The person who owns the brand has no idea about the consumer, but invests all the marketing dollars on the person who writes the prescription. My question to you is that all over the world, and I've seen it in so many countries, governments are trying to get doctors to write the prescription using the name of the salt. We continue to use the brand name. What will it take to make this big change?
Like, I'm a strong believer of brands because brands are fundamental.
Right.
And brands give incentive to a manufacturer to invest in quality and R&D.
Correct.
Because if it is a generic product, how does a patient gets the confidence? So whether it is any industry, I am a supporter of the brand. The question is, there have to be mechanism in the system which ensures the quality of the brand, which ensures that there is no undue profiteering, and which shows that companies keep on investing on R&D. If it is a generic, why will, say, companies invest in getting a better product? Because then someone in a pharmacy level, at a ground level, can decide what is the product which has to be given. It is, say, ibuprofen, but all ibuprofens are not same. All sonatines are not same. Who will spend in research if it is generic? And research and knowledge is fundamental. So the key aspect of the pharma industry is knowledge, key aspect is research, and key aspect is upgradation at every moment. And key aspect is also education of physician and patient. So we are proud of the fact that whether it is cancer patient, or whether it is HIV patient, or whether it is diabetes patient, pharma industry has made the difference because the life cycle of a patient has improved. At the time of the independence, it was 47 years in India. It is around 67 years in now.
No, there's no doubt about what
Pharma
you're
industry
saying.
has contributed a hell of a lot. I remember clearly I was part of TB when I launched TB therapy in this country. At that time, the person used to go into homes, TB homes, but now the whole context has changed, and we are trying to find the answers. So it is great to be part of this industry.
No, you're absolutely right. I mean, what I'm hearing you say is really that intellectual property in the manufacturer can only thrive if there is a brand.
Absolutely.
Otherwise, everyone will be busy copying with which generics are really.
Absolutely. So that is fundamental to this industry. That's critical.
Very well said. So let me move to now, what is happening from a retail perspective in the e-pharma space. E-pharma players are beginning to come and make a change in the way medicines are being retailed. Right? From a pharmaceutical manufacturer perspective, these pharmacies, e-pharmacies are discounting heavily. What is the reason for being able to offer such high discounts? And how will the pharmaceutical industry cope with this? I mean, customers are getting, and I won't use patients, customers are getting used to cheap medicines with heavy discounts.
Ashutosh, again, a very interesting play which is happening at this particular moment. We have got all the players which are coming in this game. We have got e-pharmacies, and the Amazons of the world are coming in. Reliance getting into this space. The game cannot be only on discounts, which is a fallacy in this game.
I agree.
Because if you keep on giving discounts, you will keep on breeding.
Correct.
And you will not survive over a period of time. In fact, I was just going through some of the articles and also financial performance of many of the e-pharmacy companies, all of them have been bleeding. You cannot do it for a long period of time. The focus has to be brought on service. The focus has to be brought on the next door pharmacy. Because if we see world over, the pharmacy can play a very important role in terms of better storage of products, in terms of better delivery of products to the patient, in terms of making sure that the compliance is taking place. Somehow we have not played that kind of role in this country, and we have to leverage the role of pharmacy. The road will not be through discounts, the road will be through upgrading the standards. And you have been part of that
Yeah.
field, and I love that field. That there can be lot can be done going forward in the future, leveraging the role of pharmacies and leveraging the role of private general practitioners, which are backbone of the healthcare industry.
And you're so right, because I used to be completely against discounting after when I founded Guardian, and Guardian never offered any discounts, even though, and I was the first person who actually stopped cutting strips in North India. I said, we won't cut strips because it's a big loss.
Absolutely, absolutely,
But
absolutely.
but I'm just hoping with leadership from people like you will make a change in the retail business.
And over a period of time, it is part of the education. Yes, sometimes someone says, I will give 20% discount. Then someone starts saying 30% discount. And then you start buying from the sources which are not well known sources. You are not very sure whether you are buying the same kind of product. There may be spurious drugs which may be there. The storage may not be right. And on top of it, these companies keep on losing. At the moment, yes, private equity investors are there, but for how long they will be there in the game?
Not
So
sustainable.
it is a zero-sum game. So at the end of the day, we have to find answers in a more sustainable way to servicing the needs of the patient. And I will say, patient is the center of all we do in the pharma industry.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And whatever we do have to be in the interest of the patient, safe quality drug at an affordable cost. Yeah, that's fundamentally.
Very interesting. So I've got one more question for you on the pharmaceutical industry before I move to some personal questions. And this is a question that used to bother me when I was in Guardian. Every product in the country has barcodes. Medicines don't. What is the reason? And I've gone and I spoke to CEOs of large pharma companies. No one gave me a straight answer.
Now, there are two areas why barcodes have not been there in this country. One is there were different ministries who were talking barcodes of different kinds.
I see.
So, Commerce Ministry was talking one kind of barcode, Health Ministry was talking another kind of barcode, DOP was talking another kind of barcode. So, we had a meeting around a month back, and we said Ministry of Health will be responsible for creating barcode system in the country. So, in principle, there is agreement that barcodes have to be there. Now, the question is of time. When will it be implemented? And what are the implications in terms of cost and other areas to get it implemented? So, you are absolutely right. That is an important area. It will help to track and trace the products. It is an important step. And the government and the industry is committed to it as far as this area is concerned.
Wonderful. So, Sudarshan, I've got to move to a few personal questions for you. My first question to you is that in such an illustrious career with so much success, are there any people who've had a strong influence on your life? And if yes, what have you learned from them?
I will say certainly there are many people who have had big influence on my life. First is my father, who has been a great influence. He was a top historian of the country, and he thought education is fundamental. And that's why he laid a lot of emphasis on education. And I also believe education, skill development, learning is fundamental going forward. So that's a very, very big influence on life. And wherever I get the opportunity, I am part of that system. And that's why I said healthcare and education is my passion.
Correct.
Right? Second is D.B. Gupta. He had a big influence on my life. That was the first career I began with. So he believed in thinking big and acting big. So he thought of Indian industry at that time that Indian industry should be the largest in the world in TB. I didn't realize at that time that it will become and it will make a difference. That's the second influence. Third is a lot of teachers in my life, they had the influence. Like say C.K. Prahlad, he taught us at IIM Ahmedabad. Labdi Bhandari, he taught marketing, Professor Abhinandan Jain. So I've been influenced by their thinking process, which has been very, very important. So teachers and some of my bosses like DB Gupta, Mr. Palekar of Johnson& and Johnson, Anil Kapoor in terms of marketing,
Yeah, yeah.
they have played a very important role. And I've been trying to learn from all of them because they have been veterans in the game. I've learned at every stage of my career something from them. And I'm fortunate that I work with some of the outstanding professionals in the Indian industry, and I still work with outstanding professionals, and
Absolutely.
that keep me enriching because at this particular moment, Dilip Sangvi, Pankaj Patel, Sudhir Mehta, all of them, I tend to work with them, and the process that I am in the bus. So it has been an excellent, inspiring journey where I tend to learn from everyone. Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you. And therefore, my next question to you is, what are the three words that define Sudarshan?
One is passion,
Hmm.
excellence, and learning agility.
Okay. Well done. Well done. My next question to you is on failure. I've often believed that in our country, or for that matter in Asia, parents don't tell children it is okay to fail. We're all constantly being told first आना है, be in the first, be ahead of the queue, etc., etc. Yet we all fail. So my question to you is, in your life, what have been some of your learnings from your mistakes or failures?
So one is there are many of the businesses where I launched products which were not successful. There are businesses where I caught up the opportunity late.
Hmm.
I should have picked up earlier. So I will give two examples. I was very passionate about anti-obesity market in the country,
Mhm.
and we had a product, Abbott, or earlier to Abbott, Knoll Boots,
Mhm.
which was sibutramine. We launched in the country. We didn't realize that the product alone cannot give the solution to obesity. It is diet and exercise together.
Mhm.
So unless you look at a holistic way of looking at a product, you cannot sort a particular issue. So that was the beginning of learning of a great lesson that integrated efforts in a chronic therapy is very, very important. So that was a great thing which I used at learning going forward for building other businesses for the company. I was part of building insulin range in this country with Novo Nordisk. They approached us in 1986, 87. But I said that insulin, high price insulin, will not sell in this country. There is no need of getting technology. We were selling conventional insulins. I don't know, Ashutosh, if you remember,
Yeah.
Boots used to make blue color insulin. So
Um,
we didn't realize that diabetes is going to be such big thing. So we took 5 years to make that decision.
hmm.
The decision which could be taken earlier, so assessment could have been there. And it was a wrong perception that the market does not realize value. We were focused on cost in the pharma industry, but in the healthcare, according to me now, I understand beyond cost, value is much more important. And if you can project right value for your product, you can make difference. So that realization with the insulin marketing, and the second realization with the anti-obesity product. And there are a number of examples of
I'm
this
sure.
kind
I'm sure.
that I can give
Thank
you.
you.
Yeah.
So I've got my last question to you, and this is again, based on so much experience. There are thousands and thousands of people who will watch and listen to your and my conversation. What would be the three things you would tell a young individual starting off their life in the pharma world?
So one is very, very important is open mind. The world is changing every day. There is a development, and whatever we learn at a particular stage, it keeps on changing. So open-mindedness is a very, very important, and learning agility is fundamental. It will be much more important going forward. Don't plan your career journey, plan your learning journey. Learning journey is prerequisite to the career journey.
Correct.
And hence it is important that what I started with and what am I doing, every day there is a change and every day is a new day. And we have to prepare that learning journey and open-mindedness. That is very, very important. Next is the open-minded, that is first part. Second is learning journey. And the third is humility.
Humility.
is very, very important. Humility is very, very important for a new generation. You have to learn from everyone.
Correct.
You may have passed out from the best institute in the country, but unless you learn, you will not prosper. Yeah.
Wonderful. Very wise words indeed. Sudarshan, thank you very much. It's been such a pleasure speaking to you. You've said such amazing things in our conversation today. I'm grateful that you came on my show, and I wish you lots of success.
Thank you very much, Ashutosh. It has been a pleasure talking to you. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the Brand Called You videocast and podcast, a platform that brings you knowledge, experience, and wisdom of hundreds of successful individuals from around the world. Do visit our website www.tbcy.in to watch and listen to the stories of many more individuals. You can also follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Just search for the Brand Called You.